Hey guys, and welcome back to another video for Alex's Flying Club. Right now we are in the confusion that is the beginning of an FSO mission, and this is one that we flew this past Friday, and we're flying for the German side, as you can see, just getting lined up in our 109F-4s, and this FSO recreates the Battle of Voronezh, and you can also see that I am finally recording with TrackIR inputs. My previous videos I called them gun camera footage because I didn't have the TrackIR, but now I think I solved the problem, at least for the short term, because I got an external hard drive which records my fraps videos onto that as I'm playing. It works better because it frees up the hard drive inside my laptop to get all the files from Aces High, and it doesn't have any kind of bottlenecks. So it's a good solution, and hopefully it'll stay this way, stay pretty nice. I'm not getting extremely high frame rates when I'm recording, getting about 25, 27 frames per second, but it's a lot better than like the 8 frames per second I was getting before. So yeah, so I hope this makes these videos with Aces High a little bit more enjoyable, and consequently I'll be posting more of them. So back to the mission, we are flying in the Battle of Voronezh, as I mentioned, and this battle took place in 1942, right around the time of right before the Battle of Stalingrad, actually, further north along the Don River, and this was the first part of the German summer offensive to capture that city and then head south to Stalingrad. And nice thing about FSO is that, you know, there's so many different kinds of historical events that we do, and it's a chance to learn a little bit more about the history. Hadn't really known about this battle before taking part in this event. So I cut forward a little bit in the video. Just wanted to show a little bit of us forming up and flying to the sector that we're going to be operating in. And our mission for today was to do a combat air patrol over a vehicle base that we controlled, and repel any kind of bomber attacks or fighter sweeps. So here I fast forwarded again. We're going to be coming up on a group of fighters. This is a light skirmish that I took part in before the attack by the bombers. And you might notice that there's no audio from the from people speaking over their headsets. And that's because the way that I play, I have my sound from the game going to my laptop speakers, and then the sound for all communication going to my headset. And Fraps doesn't record the headset communication in this kind of configuration. The reason I do this configuration, it's easier to hear people and communicate because you don't have kind of ambient noise in your headset. You just have it coming from your laptop speakers. You know, exterior to your headset, and it's nice for me. But yeah, maybe I'll figure out a way to record the communication we have as a squad at the same time. But in any case, there's a few things. This wasn't a good sortie for me. It was okay, but it could have been a lot better. There's a few things that, you know, thinking back on it, that I could have done better. One of which was kind of do a little bit, kind of minimal practice for gunnery for this plane before FSO. I really hadn't flown this week before just jumping into the cockpit in this 109F-4, and it kind of shows, because look at that. I mean, can't really line up a shot, and it's not like I'm particularly bad in the 109. It's just that, you know, it takes a while to get used to any plane. And I've been flying Microsoft Flight Simulator, I've been flying Cessnas, I've been flying Learjets, I've been flying Corsairs, and it's just, you just have to get used to the plane before an event. So something that I've figured out for myself, you know, 20 minutes before FSO, I'm going to take the ride that we're going to be flying. I'm going to go into the offline mode, and you know, the offline drones that you have circling the field, I'm going to select all those drones to be different planes that we're going to be flying against in the event. That way I just get some target practice and just get a quick feel for shooting down those particular planes before the event. And you'll see my gunnery improves a little bit throughout the sortie. I'm just missing these P-40s left and right. And when we come up on the bombers, I'm just, it might have just been a little streak of bad luck, but it seemed that like some of them I poured just a ton of firepower into them, and it just wouldn't go down. So it would also help to try to, you know, find the weak spots in different airframes, and you know, I was shooting for the engines in the A-20s, in the Boston bombers that we encountered, and that may have been a more kind of reinforced area in those bombers. Although I don't know, it just would have helped to practice offline a little bit before the sortie. So there's just a few of the enemy fighters left down below, and it looked like my squadron mates could handle them. So I stayed up high and headed for the rally point. Here I fast forwarded again. We rallied as a squad, and then there was an incoming wave of bombers. I believe these are the Boston bombers, which are just A-20s that the British used, and they may be filling in for some kind of Soviet aircraft, or maybe they were Lend-Lease aircraft. But in any case, that's what they're doing here in the Eastern Front scenario. So another thing that I could have done better was to work closer with a wingman. My wingman for this sortie got reassigned, and I should have joined up with somebody else, because I've just kind of flying on my own and kind of tagging along to certain wingman pairs, and it would have been more effective if I had found somebody to work together with. So I'll remember that for future FSOs. So these bombers are escorted, but the P-39s and the P-40s are theoretically shouldn't be much of a match for the 109s. So this was a nice pass, I thought. I'm retaining my speed. The P-39s behind me will have a harder time catching up to me. Like, I couldn't believe that bomber didn't go down. It's smoking, but I think it still can manage to fly. So here I tried to do kind of an S maneuver to retain my speed and get behind the bombers again, but it just wasn't effective. I don't think this kind of S turn is bad to do what I'm doing, but I just somehow ended up really far afield from the bombers, as you'll see. I should have probably turned back at this point and attacked the leading group again, but I think I was a little paranoid of that P-39 right above them. See, now I'm pretty far away again. Especially when you have high speed and you turn and you do a 180 after attacking a bomber formation, you can lose them pretty quickly. So I'm still thinking of ways to attack bombers effectively, I guess, in these situations. And you have to be careful with these P-39s and P-40s because they can outdive you. They can they perform better at higher speeds. So if any one of them dived on me, I would have to be really careful on the dive. It's not the way to fight these guys. That's pretty much the only advantage they have against this type of 109. So I figured out later on that it's easier to attack the drones, which is what I try to do here, because as you saw, the guy was climbing. The drones typically don't follow any kind of erratic evasion maneuvers that a bomber may try to do as you're attacking it. They don't follow it as closely, so they make a more stable target. Plus, if the bomber pilot is manning the guns, the drone will shoot the guns. But if you're attacking the drone and the main bomber plane is a little bit farther away because he's maneuvering, the bomber pilot is viewing from the guns of the primary plane, so he won't have as easy of a time hitting you if you're attacking the drone. That's something that I was mindful of, but I'll put that to use in some of my attacks coming up. But those just weren't good. I don't know why, but just didn't have good luck with these bomber attacks this sortie. I did end up getting one bomber kill credited to me, but I probably should have gotten a few more if I would have approached them a little better. So here I have kind of the pick of the litter right here. That P-40's pretty far away, and he will catch up to me, but right now I have kind of free reign on these Boston bombers. I can't decide if this maneuver that I'm doing, this barrel roll around the bomber, is good or bad for attacking in these situations. I've definitely been bleeding my speed, which would allow the P-40 to catch up to me, but it is giving me a few opportunities to shoot at these guys. Again, I'm so surprised, some of those hits didn't create an engine fire or something. And those are cannon rounds I'm shooting. But again, practice would have helped because I don't think the rate of fire on these 109 cannons is that high. So I might be hitting those bombers with machine guns, but not the cannon shells. So now that P-40 caught up to me, and this is the beginning of an interesting engagement because I'm heading back toward a squadron mate who was actually calling out that P-40 for me. And we're going to have a 2-on-1 fight against this P-40, and eventually we're going to be joined in by a second P-40 that will cause my demise in this sortie. Spoiler alert. But I just kind of wanted to review this engagement here because we should have taken this guy down in the time that we had. So there my squadron mate took him off my tail, and I'm trying to rope him, but he's not taking the bait. So I'm just going to use the 109 superior climb to come back around in the P40, and we're going to make a few diving attacks. And this would have been fine. I think we would have eventually taken down this P40, but I didn't play it smartly when the second enemy fighter engaged. And you'll see why. I had a split-second decision to make, and I made a wrong decision. And with these fights, especially when you're on somebody's 6 and you're trying to shoot at them, these split-second decisions become extremely important. And basically, my wingman here was calling out, you know, check 6, there's another P40 coming in. And this P40, this first one, is going to get on his 6. So my logic was, I'm going to try to clear his 6 before you see him coming around now on my wingman here, or trying to. So my logic was, I'm going to, while I'm on this guy's 6, I'm going to try to take him down so that when the second P40 comes in, it'll continue to be a 2-on-1 engagement. Well, it doesn't really work that way. I'm going to put a link in the video below to a nice video about the pilot fighter mindset made by a guy named Requiem on YouTube, who's got some great videos. So here you see him on his 6. And he basically talks about the OOPA method for fighter pilot mindset created by Colonel Boyd, a famous fighter pilot. And I'll get into that in a little bit, but here is where I had the chance to make a good decision. I wanted to protect my squadron mate 6, but as you saw, that first P40 dove away. I think that might have been a mistake that he made, and that should have given me an opportunity to get situational awareness and figure out where the second P40 was, which I didn't know where he was. I should have disengaged instead of following the first one, and should have looked around and found the P40. And the OOPA method for fighter pilots stands for Observe, Orient, oh geez, this is embarrassing, I forgot the P stands for, Plan, I think, and Action. So without the Observe and the Orientation part, the two O's, you can't do the Plan and the Action. So that's the first priority that I should have had, was to observe that second P40, because the situation had changed. You can't, you know, pretend that it's going to continue to be a 2-on-1 and have wishful thinking. You have to always adapt to the situation, and that's something that, you know, if you don't do that, this is what happens. My engine's out, I've got a pilot wound, and I'm going to crash land in enemy territory. But, you know, it was a fun sortie nonetheless. It's always a learning opportunity. Hopefully I'll make less and less of these common mistakes. And yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll be posting more Aces High videos now in the future, now that TrackIR can be recorded. And I'm still doing a lot of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I got Microsoft Flight Simulator X coming in, so I'll be doing videos with some of those great planes that are available for that flight sim. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon.